Welcome to this tutorial. Before we start, kindly subscribe to my channel, like the video and share it with your friends. Also hit the notification button so you will be notified when I upload a new video. Let's start. Today we are going to solve Bilingual GED Maths first semester first session 2014-2015 paper. Let's solve. The first question has 14 multiple choice items and each one is 2 marks. So the first one of the multiple choice is a partial fraction question. This is the one which has linear factors in the denominator. We have to find b. We will use the cover-up method. To use the cover-up method, if you want to find b, you have to see what is under b. There is x plus 1. So we cover x plus 1. And what will remain? 3x plus 1 and x plus 2. So b is equal to 3x plus 1 over x plus 2. How can this become negative? 0. If x is equal to negative 1, it will become 0. We replace the x with negative 1 and we will get the answer is negative 2. Therefore, the answer is A. As you can see, this question is related to first principle of differentiation. When you have a question like that, write down the rule. You can get the rule from the formula sheet. It is f dash x is equal to limit h0 f of x plus h minus f of x over h. What is the difference between this formula here and this formula here? There's a 3 here. So if I have f dash x and I want to make it the same as that, I will have to put a 3 here. So 1 over 3 f dash x. And the answer will be B. In question number 3, if y is equal to ax square has a gradient of 12 at the point 2, 12, then a equals. Whenever the gradient has been given, you differentiate and make it equal to the gradient given to you. So y will become dy over dx and ax square. So we multiply 2 by a, 2ax. This will equal to our gradient, which is 12. Now in place of x, put 2. You will get 4a is equal to 12. Divide both the sides by 4 and you will get a is equal to 3. So that's C as our answer. In question number 4, if f dash x is equal to 6x squared minus 4x cubed, then the number of inflection points of f of x equals. Before we begin this question, there are certain things you need to know. Whenever we are talking about inflection points, maximum or minimum, you should always know that first we differentiate and make our gradient equal to 0 and find x. After you find x, we double differentiate and substitute your x value. If your value after substituting x is positive more than 0, it means that it is a minimum point. If it is less than 0, you have a negative, it means it's a less than 0, so it will be a maximum point. If your d2y over dx2 equals 0, after you substitute x value, it equals 0, then you cannot know whether it is a minimum or maximum. You have to make a table. Substitute your x value. So suppose whatever your x value is there, you write it here. And then we will do x minus 1 and x plus 1. And here is your sign of dy dx. It means that whatever you have x minus 1 and x plus 1, we are going to substitute in our gradient to check whether it is positive or negative. You only need to know the sign. If it's a negative and it's a positive, so when you substitute a value less than x, you get a negative, and when you substitute x value in x plus 1 and you get a positive, it means it's a minimum point. When you substitute and you get a positive first and a negative later, it's a maximum. If you substitute and you get both positives and both negative, then it is a point of inflection. Here we don't have to differentiate, it's already differentiated. We just have to make it equal to 0. So we will make it equal to 0. 6x squared minus 4x cubed is equal to 0. Factorize the x out. So you have x squared is equal to 0, or 6 minus 4x is equal to 0. So you have x is 0, or negative 4x is equal to negative 6. Divide by negative 4, x is equal to 3 over 2. If you don't understand the factorization method, you can see this is a cubic and a square. Arrange it in a proper way. The cube should come first, then the square. You can substitute in mode. I don't know what calculator you'll be using. So it could be mode 3, 4. Mostly that's what you are allowed. And you can get the same answer. X is 0 and x is equal to 3 over 2. Now we will double differentiate. So when you double differentiate this, it will become 6 multiplied by 2, 12x, and negative 4 multiplied by 3, negative 12x square. Substitute x is equal to 0. When you do so, your d2y over dx2 is equal to 0. Now let's substitute when x is equal to 3 over 2. So your d2y over dx2 is equal to 12 multiplied by 3 over 2 minus 12 multiplied by 3 over 2 square. You will get a negative answer less than 0. Therefore, this is a maximum point. They asked us to find the number of inflection points. So this is maximum point, so this is cancelled. And there is only one remaining now when x is equal to 0. So we don't need to make the table for this. We can understand that the answer is we have one inflection point. In this question, we have to find the period of f of x is equal to 6 cosec 2 bracket x minus 5 bracket closed is. Before we begin, let's just review the period of each trigonometric identity. Sine, cos, cosec, and sec. They all have the period 2 pi or 360. And cot and tan has a period of 180 or pi divided by k. What is this k? Anytime you have any trigonometric identity, suppose you have sine 4x, this number in between the trigonometric identity and x, or it can be a theta, is your k. For this case, it will be, we know it is 2 pi, so we'll divide it by 4. Pi over 2 is your period. Now coming back to our question, we have cosec. So our period is going to be 2 pi. The number before, in between, the trigonometric identity and x is 2. So we divide by 2. Our period is pi. Period only changes if there is a number in between your trig identity and x. This one does not affect the period. Question number 6. If sine theta is 3 over 5, where 0 is less than theta and theta is less than pi over 2, then sec theta is equal to. I hope every one of you knows that sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, and sec theta is the reciprocal of cos theta. Just a short review here. Sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. And tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. Whenever you have a question like that, make a triangle here. Make this as your theta. So this side is going to be your opposite, which is 3, and hypotenuse is opposite the right angle. Whenever the hypotenuse is given to you, you square root and do hypotenuse square minus whatever side has been given to you squared. So the answer is 4. If you want to find the hypotenuse, instead of the negative, put a positive sign here. Now we found that we know that cos theta is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. What is your adjacent? 4. Hypotenuse 5. It is in the first quadrant, therefore it's going to be positive. And sec theta is the reciprocal of cos theta, so we will just flip our answer. It will be 5 over 4. C is our answer. This is a very easy question and a most repetitive question. We have to find the value of x. I will show you the way to do it in multiple choice first, which is very easy. We replace the x with the values that we have here. Pi over 6, pi over 3, pi over 4, and pi over 2. Remember to change it in radians because our limit is pi over 2. And after you replace your x with these values, so put in the calculator like this. Square root 3, 10. In place of x, put pi over 6 minus 1. If you get a 0, it means that this answer is your right answer. If you don't get a 0, then you need to try another one. But here you will get the answer pi over 6. That's the correct answer. Now if it was an extended question, we will leave the 10x alone. So the negative 1 will become positive 1. 10x will equal to 1 divided by square root 3. And then you will do 10 inverse 1 over square root 3. Again, remember it is in radians, and this will give you pi over 6. Because it's in the first quadrant, pi over 2 means 90. It's in the first quadrant. We have only one answer here. Now this is a proving question, and you have been given 1 over sec theta minus tan theta. Look in the formula sheet and see how sec theta and tan theta are connected. We'll see that 1 plus sec square theta is equal to tan square theta. So if we rearrange it, we'll get sec square theta minus tan square theta is equal to 1. So we can replace the 1 with sec square theta minus tan square theta over sec theta minus tan theta. Whenever you have anything that is a square minus b square, you have here sec square theta minus tan square theta. This is equal to a minus b and a plus b. This is the most repetitive identity in the exam. They bring it nearly every year. So sec square theta minus tan square theta will become sec theta minus tan theta, and sec theta plus tan theta over sec theta minus tan theta. So this is common, it will get cancelled. We are left with sec theta plus tan theta. So that is our answer here, A. So now this is an integral question. You know that when you integrate, you write down what has been given to you. You add 1 to the power. So 6 plus 1, 7. The new power you will put down and put plus c. The 7 and the 7 will get cancelled. So we are left with x to the power of 7 plus c. Question number 10 is again an integral question. And we have been said that in the figure, area A is 12. So this is 12 and area B is 9. This is 9. Remember, area cannot be negative. That's the reason you have positive 12 and positive 9. Then the integral 9 to 0, the limits from 9 to 0 equals what? If you have area under the x-axis, it's always going to be negative. But because it is area, we make it positive. So in this question here, for the integral, we have to use the negative 12 plus 9. Therefore, the answer is going to be B. They give this type of question quite often. Sometimes they will say that the area is 12 and the area is 9. Find the integral. Sometimes they will say the integral is given to you and you have to find the area. If you have to find the area, you will add everything that is there in the diagram. Okay? Question number 11. If f dash is equal to 6x squared, f of 0 is equal to 1, then f of 2 is equal to what? This is a little different from the usual type of question. First, let's see what has been given to us. The gradient has been given to us. Dy over dx is 6x squared. The value of x is 0 and the value of y is 1. And when x is 2, what is the value of y? So this is an integral question. We are going to integrate it first. So y is equal to the integral of 6x squared. We add 1 to the power 2 plus 1, 3, divide by 3 plus c. We cancel it out, we'll get 2. So y is equal to 2x cubed plus c. And now we are going to replace in place of y 1 and in place of x 0. This gives us c is equal to 1. So we have our equation of f of x. Y is equal to 2x cubed plus 1. Now in place of x, we are going to substitute 2 to find our y, and that is 17. So the answer is C. One more integral question. So when we integrate this function from 2 to 0, the answer is negative 4. So what is the value of m? So let's integrate it. And when we integrate it, we'll get 2x squared over 2 minus mx. M is a number. So whenever you have a number, you will put x. And then remember to put the square brackets, 2, 0. So in place of x, I'm going to put 2. And then in place of x, I'll put 0. When I put 0, it's going to be 0. And the answer is negative 4. You'll get 4 minus 2m is equal to negative 4. Negative 2m is equal to negative 4 minus 4, negative 8. Divide both the sides by negative 2 and you will get m is equal to 4. That is C. Now we have a probability question. And the question is the probability that there will be at least one tails in tossing a coin 4 times is. You can either do the tree diagram, but it will be very lengthy. It's better if you understand what they want. So if you are having at least one tail, it means you can have 3 heads and 1 tail, 2 heads and 1 tail, or 2 tails. It can be 1 or more tail. Instead of doing this way, it will be better if you see that when there are 4 heads, there is no tail here. Okay? So probability of 1 minus 4 heads is the probability that there will be at least one tail. In a coin, what is the probability of a head? 1 over 2. And of a tail? 1 over 2. So we will do 1 minus 1 over 2 times 1 over 2. We'll do it 4 times. And we will get 15 over 16. So this is the answer. Probability of something happening. Suppose I say probability of it raining is 0.3. The probability of it not raining is going to be 1 minus 0.3, which is 0.7. Probability is always equal to 1. That's why we subtract it from 1. Question number 14. A basket contains 10 green apples and 15 red apples. Ahmad chooses one apple at random and eats it, followed by another one. The probability that Ahmad eats one green and one red apple is. So first write down the probability of green apples. We have 10 green apples. The total number of apples are 10 plus 15, 25. The probability of red apples is 15 over 25. He eats it, followed by another one. So this is a case of not replacing, because he eats it, so one apple is going to be less. And they want us to have one green and one red apple. So let's see that whether if he eats green first, the second is going to be red. If he eats red first, the second is going to be green. The probability of the first green apple is 10 over 25. Because he ate one apple, now the total number of apples are going to be 24. But he has eaten a green apple, so the red apples are still 15. If he ate the red apple first, it will be 15 over 25 times the probability of green apples. Remember that he has eaten one apple, so the probability is going to be 24 and the probability of green apples is 10. We just have to calculate this and you will get the answer half. So this is your answer. Watch part 2 for extended questions. They are solved completely with guidelines to help you understand the concepts better. Kindly like the video and share it with your friends.